Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on The Last Manhunt, starring Jason Mamoa as a guy based on a true story, I guess. But they don't really tell you who everybody is, other than you've got lawmen, and I think Jason is amongst the lawmen. But I think the basic premise is there's a young couple, and then there's a third guy who the man of the couple ends up accidentally killing him. Story by Thomas Sebe and Jason Mamoa. And so the guy he kills, they leave in the desert, and I assume they find him. Directed by Christian Carmago. And it looks cool. It looks cool. There's a lot of characters in it. It was a big cast. This guy has these funky, cool sunglasses, which I don't know, seem a little too modern for the genre, but other than that, it looks fine. A lot of Native American characters too, as well. But yeah, so he kills a guy and then runs off with his girl. I'm not sure what their relationship is. Doesn't really get into the nitty gritty too much, but they're chasing him, this guy, and his wife or girlfriend, and Jason Mamoa, I guess, is one of the guys who's after him. And then there's a sheriff who wants to bring him in alive, but there are a bunch of other guys that they don't care. They want him dead. So story by Thomas Sibet and Jason Mamoa, written by Thomas Sibet, directed by Christian Carmango. And yeah, Jason Mamoa is the only member of the cast I recognize. Let's see if I bet he's an executive producer. Yeah, he is. Yeah, this looks very much like his project. He's starring. He co-wrote it, or co-wrote the story anyway. Probably wanted to do a Western, came up with some stuff for a character, and they worked it out. Or maybe he hired the writer. A lot of times that's a thing. Actors are a little more willing, I think, to hire writers because they feel like, I think they have more control over their part, and they get the part they want, so they can do all the cool scenes they want to do in a movie. He doesn't appear to be in the trailer all that much, which is weird. I would think they would showcase him, even though he's not the main character. Like, there he is there. But he's very prominent in it. So this is a smart move, I think, for him, helping out his fellow actors, getting a lot of people in this, but also being the star. This is basically what Alec Baldwin did in Rust, except, Jason Momoa is probably not going to shoot anybody. It looks okay. It looks, like your standard Western. I like Momoa okay when he's not, I don't know, he's in a lot of stuff. So some of the stuff's really stupid. Like, I think that TV show called C, that's just dumb. I didn't like the trailer. I don't like the premise of that one at all. But this, standard Western. Looks like it's got all the elements. Rattlesnakes, guns, cowboys. It's based on a true story, so that gives it a little something. So first act establishes some of the characters, and then you get this accidental murder, and they freak out and run off into the desert. The body's found, and manhunt begins. So Jason Momoa somehow pulled into it, probably at the end of the first act, beginning of the second act. They chase him across the desert, but it also seems like the people after them is a combination of the law, some bounty hunters, and then some people who are just out for revenge because of who he killed. They don't really get into that, but whatever. So then it's not so much, I mean, the guy they're after, it's just him and his girlfriend, so they don't have a lot of firepower, but it's the internal mechanism or the internal intrigue amongst the guys chasing him that kind of boils over, right? So they end up like killing each other over the guy they're hunting down. It seems, and then in the third act, I don't know. The lead guy with the girl seems to be kind of innocent. So if it's a happy ending, it might be the kind of thing where Momoa decides, no, this was a justified murder. This is a frame up. I want this guy to go. I'm not. So he turns on the others and defends them in a story of redemption, perhaps. Or that it just unravels and they kill each other and then maybe he gets away or they all die. It can go a lot of different ways in a Western because it can end very tragically and still be kind of cool. It's sort of close to noir in that the characters are usually, they all have a past and it's kind of dark and nobody's really a good guy, although there are a couple of like noble characters usually in the Western archetypes, but for the most part it's like everybody's sort of like down to this level and you get the hero is like the best in those worlds. So it's close. I feel like it's not noir adjacent, and it's set up a little bit. But it can have a happy ending. It might not be noir at all. But, it's got lots of action. I mean, Westerns have everything, right? They have action, drama. At the minimum, they'll have action and drama. At minimum. And it's sort of the lower stakes deal being more exciting. Because you don't have cars and phones and TV and all these other things to get in the way. It's very bare bones, like, almost, I mean, you do have guns, but it's almost like ancient times. It would be interesting to see a movie like that. Maybe I should write it. Where, like, there's a bounty hunter hunting people, but it's, pre-gun era. So he's hunting down a guy and, but it's just like swords, maybe crossbows, something like that. Would I see this? Yeah, I mean, this is totally my kind of movie. I would see it. Is it good? It looks okay. I don't think it'll be bad. I mean, it looks pretty watchable. It's a little dark in some portion of the trailer. But the actors seem very confident. The sets seem nice. I mean, Momoa's okay. For this kind of role, I think he's perfect. He looks the part. They're not doing the whole muscle thing. There he is. And Jason Mamoa as Slim. I mean, the hair's a little long for that era, but I think a guy like him might have cut it, but kind of wondering what kind of character is he playing. Is he playing a guy who's like part Indian? Is that kind of his deal? Is he Indian in this? Because he can kind of pass for that, I think, right? Because what is he? He's like Pacific Islander, I think. So be interesting. His career's really blown up, huh? Just from that Game of Thrones thing. Could you imagine watching Game of Thrones? Like, oh, this guy, he's gonna blow up. It's funny how, like, again, Hollywood just picks guys who are they're just aesthetically pleasing to look at, a lot of times. But I mean, he's relatively talented. I haven't seen him really act. That's the thing. He can say lines. The acting's okay, but I haven't seen him like in a movie where he really acts. So maybe this is it. Maybe this gives him a chance to actually do some acting. But he's in like a ton of other movies. He's in Slumberland and Aquaman 2 is on the sked somewhere, and all these movies. So good on him. I think this is the kind of movie that could be of high quality. So if you're going to check out a Jason Momoa movie, I think this should be on your list. The Last Manhunt. Do we have a date on this? Yes, we do. November 18th on digital and on demand. Also in select theaters. See, this is a movie I think should be wide release. Westerns, pretty good. I mean, people like Westerns. They have a lot of, and this one has a lot of, sprawling desert production value, I'll say. Should probably be in the big theater, but select theaters, it's going to be like an art house dealy. Guns and a shooting. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. I will be at the Asbury Park thing tomorrow, Saturday, from 12 to 6. Scary Story Fest. And then on Sunday, we'll be doing a live stream at 2. We'll see you.